Welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Dee Dee and this is Randy, and we're here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center on Rosemont Avenue in town, and we are bringing you some adoptable animals that we have in need of homes. Now, many of you know that the animals come to us for all different reasons, with all different kinds of backgrounds, and this little dog is Jax. And Jax is a Parson Russell Terrier, and they're also known as Jack Russell Terriers. And he is very, very sweet. He's 5 years old, and he's a male, and he's now neutered. But he has a little bit of a story to tell. He belonged to a young man in a wheelchair who passed away. So Jax has lived on 2 acres in a home with his person, to whom he was very dedicated, and now that part of his life is over. He was very good at being a companion and a helper, but he didn't know any different life. So coming to the kennel, he's been a little bit overwhelmed. He is not aggressive at all. He is eating well. He approaches everyone. He'll climb in your lap, as you can plainly see, but he shivers a lot. And we know that's because he is finding out all kinds of new things he's never seen or done. But one of the things that he can do well that a lot of dogs can't do is maneuver around a wheelchair without being an impediment and without being nervous about that. When we took him to the radio station, he was great in the car, and he walks nicely on a leash, and he is going to make someone a great companion. And what would be really great is if we found someone who had a similar lifestyle to his previous owner to give him confidence, but we find him to be pretty outgoing and energetic, although nervous about new things. So I think he'll adapt to any family situation. So if you are interested in Jax, or you know someone who might be, let us know or come by and meet him. Our next guest is Duncan. And Duncan has a similar story, only it's a little worse for him. He's not aggressive at all. He's sweet. He's good with kids. He's good with other pets. He's also shaking. Duncan's previous owner also passed away. But Duncan's history with people is less positive. We have some veterinary records, which if someone decides to adopt him, we would share with you that he might have been hurt by a person in his past. So Duncan is very forgiving, but you might understand that he doesn't always trust every new person that he meets, and he's not aggressive in any way, but he's shaking because it's hard to ask him to take a chance and let people handle him that he doesn't know, because he has experienced people that don't know how to do that properly, and he has gotten hurt. So one of the things that people often think about shelter animals is that they all have stories like Jax and Duncan, and that is simply not the case. Most of the animals that come here are either cats that have never been owned by people and do not care to be in the future, or dogs that are young, untrained, people move, their families break up, and people make choices to get rid of their pets. But once in a while, we do have cases that are what most people think all shelter animals are, which are like Jax and Duncan, where through no fault of their own, they have not had the best life or best treatment, or they have lost immeasurably. Jax had a great life, but he's lost it, not his fault. And Duncan had kind of a difficult situation. He was brought to us by a nice family who said that they welcomed him into their home to rescue him, and that because he shakes a lot and is nervous, he needed to be on their lap and constantly with them, and they're busy and they're not home during the day. So they wanted us to try to find him somebody who, like Randy, can hold and comfort him. And sometimes you'll hear people say, you know, don't soothe them when they're nervous because it makes it worse. That's absolutely not true. If they are frightened and you comfort them, that helps them just like it helps us. So if you have a lot of time to give, you can see that Duncan has already stopped shaking as much. He's a lot more relaxed. He's still panting, but he's realizing that Randy's probably going to be a nice man and that everything's okay. So if you have the time to give to Duncan to help him see that the world really can be a great place, call us, let us know, because he needs that. Our next guest is Pilgrim, and Pilgrim is much younger than our last two guests. He's between 1 and 2, and he is a bully breed, probably American Pit Bull Terrier. He's brindle and white, and he loves something on the carpet right now that he can smell. But Pilgrim has a lot of behaviors that I really like in a dog, and one is this tail wag. I don't know if people have seen. Lately there's been some research on tail wags that says this wide sweeping tail wag is the friendliest. His whole butt wags. He also approaches new people low to the ground, which is a sign of deference in dogs, very polite. And he also, well, he makes snorting noises when he's happy, so it's just something that I find very cute. So Pilgrim has a lot of behaviors that I would look for in a puppy, because he ingratiates himself to new people, and he wants to avoid conflict, and just has a lot of roly-poly behaviors that people like about bully breeds. And as we always say, the myth about bully breeds is that they're somehow different than other dogs, and it's just not true. Dr. Scott and Fuller did a lot of research in the 1960s and 70s with dog behavior, and they found that it is true that dogs inherit behavior from their parents, as do people, as scary as that might be, but that the parents may or may not have a behavior profile that's typical of their breed. So it is less important what breed of dog you have and more important what their parents are like and the behaviors that they individually offer. And Pilgrim has a lot of attractive puppy, people-loving behaviors. So I think he's going to make somebody a really great pet. Hi, sweetheart. We are back with Mayflower, and Mayflower does not know her name because we made it up. And if you fall in love with her, you can certainly change it. She came to us as a stray, and as you can see, she is a people-loving, sweet little dog. She's about 6 or 7 years old. That is our veterinarian's estimate. And that means she has plenty of life left to give. She's probably had puppies before, and while we will spay her, some people do prefer to have a dog that has raised puppies because of all that they learn from that. I would certainly say behaviorally, it does not make your dog better if they've had puppies before. But of course, I work in a shelter, and I do not want unwanted puppies to come to Frederick. So Mayflower does have that experience with living with other dogs, we suspect. And she is going to make somebody a really great pet. There are lots of people who love beagles because they are such affectionate and people-loving dogs. But the one thing that you should know about them is because they love people, they'll just go with anyone. So you do have to be a little diligent about your fencing and leashes and whatnot, because not only will they go with other people, but they're supposed to hunt rabbits. So if they see or smell rabbits or squirrels, they're going to be on duty and try to go off and find one for your supper. So if you do not want to eat rabbits and squirrels, which I don't recommend, then you have to keep her in. And that is something that's not too hard to do, as you can see, because she's pretty little. But because we weren't able to find her original owner, we suspect that she might have been part of a group of dogs. And sometimes people who hunt rabbit dogs believe that if they run off, they are not worth coming after. So unfortunate for her in some ways because she lost her previous home, but in a way lucky because she's going to get somebody for whom she's the one. And she'll have a real family and go forward, showing you all that beagles can be. We are back with Monroe, or Pete, and one thing Randy reminded me about our Mayflower, who you just met. He was defending hunters after Mayflower left, There are many beagle hunters who always go after their dogs, and their dogs never end up at the shelter. But we do get a high number of beagles from people who have a large number and don't come and reclaim them. So he wanted to make sure I didn't disrespect hunters that are responsible for their dogs and rabbit hunt the right way. This is Monroe, and Monroe is probably part border collie, maybe also part beagle. And he came to the attention of one of our shelter supporters, and she took him in and was trying to find a home for him, and wanted him to get the chance to be at the shelter where people who are looking for a dog can come in and see him. And once we met him, I saw him at an event at a kennel, and he's a very friendly dog, approaches other dogs properly, and he's young, he has great energy, so I didn't feel like he would have any trouble getting adopted here. And certainly he has a benefactor, so if we aren't able to find him a home, she will step back in. But it's probably the case that someone is going to take him home from here. So we've neutered him. This is all the bigger he's going to get, and he's working on house training. We don't know much about his past, but what his rescuer shared with me is that he's used to chickens, he's used to other dogs, and he's used to cats. He will chase some of them and respect other ones. So he's a pretty typical young dog. If you think that he would make a nice match for you or someone that you know, then please let us know or come meet him, see what you think. He is the perfect size dog, because you could go hiking with him and feel protected and comfortable that he's a real dog, but if you needed to in an emergency, you could pick him up. So hopefully someone will see him today and know that he's just the perfect dog for them. We are going to be back after a short break with some adoptable cats at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. Hope you join us.
If you're looking for an incredible experience, meet a shelter pet and adopt. They make super pets who will enrich your life and steal your heart. Adopt and bring home a shelter pet today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
Oh, man.
If you're concerned that there is a party taking place where there's underage drinking or drugs being used, or that you've heard that a party is going to take place, there's a tip line that you can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's 301-600-1318.
Welcome back. We are here with Gabriel, and Gabriel is clearly a kitten. This time of year, October, is hopefully the end of kitten season for us here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. And Gabriel is one of the late-born kittens of the year. And what we hope with all of them is that we're going to be able to find them homes before Christmas, so that next spring we'll have lots of empty space for the new kittens that are going to be born. Now, most cats in Frederick are owned. Estimates are that only 10% of your cat population is stray. So 90% of cats are owned. And what's great is that 80% of owned cats are spayed and neutered. So only a very small percentage of cats are causing the 1,200 or so kittens that we get every year between April and October. So we definitely need your help in getting cats that are stray reported so that groups can spay and neuter them, or we can take them in to get kittens in here while they're still young and healthy so that we can get them social and adoptable. We have, as you all know, over 50 foster homes that take kittens for us for weeks at a time to make them sweet, like this one, so that they can be adopted. But then what we need is homes for the kittens. If you cannot adopt a kitten at this time, we totally understand, but please pass his picture around so that We will not end up keeping him until spring when he's tall and lanky and no longer tiny and cute and has to compete with all the other cats for a home. It's easy for kittens to be chosen now because they're still tiny and people like the idea of getting a young pet that's going to grow up with their kids and just mesh right into their home. Of course, younger ones need more supervision, so you got to have more time, but it's definitely short-lived that they stay young and worth it to adopt a cutie. If you think that Gabriel is a good match for you or someone you know, help us out. We are back with Niall, and Niall is the same age as Gabriel, but a slightly different color and also different personality. Gabriel is more of a lap cat and Niall's more exploratory and confident. Actually, they're both pretty confident kittens. Once they go through foster care, they've already been litter trained and in a house full of people and activity, so they are ready to go. And Niall is doing something on Randy's arm that people call making biscuits or making butter, but what they're doing is they're kneading, and it is an affectionate behavior that they develop while they are nursing kittens. And lots of cats keep that behavior into their adult life and do it on people that they like. So it's a good sign for affection in a cat and also for imprinting on people. Cats that make biscuits on people are usually pretty good pets because they like people so much and are very trusting. So if you are interested in getting a kitten, one thing you have to think about is kitten proofing, because kittens go vertical much better than dogs. So tops of bookcases and mantles and pianos and things like that have to be considered when you have your baby kitten home. Clear those off of anything breakable and supervise your kittens when you are in the room with tall objects, so that as they gauge their trajectory and whether they're going to make it up there, you can rattle some paper or a can with pennies in it and startle them, and you can change that behavior so that they won't get on your kitchen counters or places that you don't want them to go. Then you should keep them in a bathroom or some such place at night, because oftentimes people say, I tried to train my cat the way you said by startling him when he looks at the top of the bookcase, but he still goes up there at night. Right. That's because you left access to it at night, and he learned that if he goes there at night, you will not startle him. So you can't leave them access to something you don't want them to do when you're not there to explain that you're still not allowing it. So, and it is short-lived, the training period, and they can learn it. I've had cats my entire adult life, and they do not get on my kitchen counters or piano, nice save. Because of diligent training. It doesn't take very long, but you really do have to stay on top of it. You may also hear that you can use a spray bottle of water, which you can. The reason I don't is because you shouldn't spray a piano with water, and oftentimes the spray bottle isn't near you. So what happens is when you go looking for the spray bottle, you lose the delay to be able to show the cat exactly what you don't want him to do, and you teach the cat that it is not jumping up on the furniture that's bad, it's the bottle. So that little piece of information is all they need to work around your system. If you think that Niall or Gabriel would make a good match for you or someone that you know, or you want two kittens, they are currently being housed together, they get along well, you could certainly adopt them both. We are back with Baby Ruth, and Baby Ruth may not stay very long. She is part of a spay-neuter project that some Frederick citizens are undertaking, where they take in kittens when they are young and raise them up by hand in their garage, and then spay and neuter them and get homes for them. Baby Ruth and her sister Milky Way are here if you are interested in two girls to adopt together. They get along great. They play with this donut toy. They have so much fun together. They don't need to be adopted together because they have experience with lots of cats. It's just that they came in a group of 12 and we paired them up randomly, and since they like each other and get along well, share the litter box, share the food, they might be good candidates to be adopted together. So if you think that Baby Ruth, as pretty as she is, beautiful tortoiseshell, would make a good match for you or someone that you know, then please let us know. Doing a good job. We are back with Betsy, a beautiful brown tabby cat who is available for adoption. And she is about 6 years old, and her owner gave her up because she had some kittens, and the owner had taken her in and already had 2 cats, and she realized that financially she couldn't take on a 3rd cat, and not to mention her babies. So Betsy came to us, and we really do appreciate it when people take cats off the street and find that they're very friendly and allow us to help them place the kittens and get her out of the cycle of reproducing every spring. Now, because she's 6 years old and not spayed, we will take care of that here. But that means it's possible that every year for the last 6 years she had 3 to 6 kittens. So it is a good thing for Betsy to come and get spayed and then have a life of retirement where she can be someone's companion. And we do offer some information about low-cost spay-neuter. So if you're willing to take in a cat, but maybe you can't afford to get her spayed, let us know, because there are several groups in Frederick that will help you out. There's a Promise League in Hagerstown that will spay any cat low cost. There is Metro Ferals in Libertytown, and they will do the same. And there are also some local groups like the Animal Welfare League and Uniting to Save Animals that help people with just such problems. So,
the list was put on Facebook yesterday.
oh, and Randy said he just put the whole list on Facebook yesterday, so I don't even need to itemize them. You can find it on our Facebook page, which we hope you do check, because another thing that Randy does is he will take snippets from these shows and put them on Pet Finder and Facebook, so every animal gets as much representation as we can on radio, TV, newspaper. Any way that we can let you know what animals are here is helpful. So the way that you can help us is check out the link at the bottom of your screen, share it, go on Pet Finder, print a profile for an animal that you're interested in, share that at work, ask if you can put it at your local grocery store or something like that. Any way that we can get the word out to let people know that there's one shelter in Frederick. We are almost always full of cats. We have many, many dogs. We have a wish list. If you know what you want and you want us to call you when we get it, we'll do that. We have volunteer opportunities, and we just want people to think of the shelter first for acquiring a pet, but also for questions about pet care. We can refer you to trainers, to suppliers, all kinds of things to help make pet keeping a little easier for you. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy. Oh, and she even talks to it. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.